Okay, so just because someone's playing Fly the Valkyrie doesn't mean they can fly one. And that's pretty much advice you can take to the bank, because I can definitely not fly the Valkyrie. But I want you to watch here. When I start playing it, they all start hopping in like I know what I'm doing. It's pretty entertaining. Watch them. It's like a party. They get excited. They come running. Anyway, this is going to be a brief overview of the game, especially if you're new to PlanetSide, especially if you're a console player and you've never had the chance to play a game like this. I'm just going to talk to you about some of the differences and take you through a few different conflicts and kind of see the flow of the game, if you will. If you were to pick this game up, let you see what the experience would be like. But don't forget the first piece of advice you learned, because this is what will happen to you. In this first bit here, myself and LTHMFIC, we're trying to flank a base that we're attacking. It's called a sky dock. It's right over there, actually. And our forces are at the bottom, so we're looking for a way to get up behind the base so that we can spawn up there and help our team take it. Not really that large of a conflict. I think the enemy team had around 50 or so players at this one base, which is not really that big of a conflict. We probably had 90, I think, but because of the position, it's pretty hard to assault. So in the end, we end up taking the base, but you'll see a little bit of that conflict play out. In the meantime, I'm just going to go over the basic stats of the game, if you will. It is a massive online multiplayer shooter. 2,000 players per map on 3 different teams. Not the most realistic shooter as far as bullets killing people immediately, but it's not as bad as like Halo. So it's pretty good for people that like simulation games. A lot of strategy. Every first-person shooter tactic that works in any other game works in this game. Oh my god, did you see that? Serial killer tried to kill me just then. That was good teamwork, actually. My partner told me he was just killed. That's why I knew to look back there. Had him on voice chat at the time. PlanetSide 2 can be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of players, especially when they first come to it. I'm going to have some videos down the road that talk about different aspects of the game more specifically. The next video I do is going to be about the spawning mechanic, which is probably the most important aspect of the game. Understanding kind of the flow of combat and where you can spawn in and what allows you to spawn in certain areas. It can be a little bit complicated at first. The game doesn't really spell it out for you. You kind of get in there and experiment to find stuff like that out. But that'll be my first video. Then I'm going to do something on vehicle combat. There's a lot of infantry fighting in this video. You'll get a good glimpse at what that's like. In this next section, you can see us assaulting what is called a sky base. There's a few of those and all the continents in PlanetSide 2. They're typically pretty small bases, but they're hard to get to because they're elevated position. You can see this one up ahead. You'll also get a chance to witness my mastery of driving. I only killed 2 teammates in the course of driving about 300 feet. It's a new record for me. Let's go ahead and look at the first assault, or the first attempt at the sky base. You'll see I land and I'm dead. But not every strategy is a winner. Let's see what we can figure out. So my friend LT Gingerbush has joined me. We're going to work together. She's agreed to, well, I've begged her and she's agreed to assist me with a strategy. I'm going to be using a max unit, which is kind of like a vehicle and an infantryman, and she's going to change to engineer. Alright, let's go. She's doing her hair. Women. Alright, she's ready. Let's do it. So our second attempt, I'm going to go up the panel, or go up the jump pad in front of her. And hopefully we'll do better than that max unit that was laying dead. Let's see how this goes. You'll notice I shot about 4 or 5 of my teammates because I've never used this thing before. It's a 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills. It's looking a lot better. And luck of the Irish did not hold. Let's give this another chance. So this time LT Gingerbush and myself are going to move to the left. We're going to try to get a foothold on top of the mountain. We're going to do that by placing a spawn beacon down. Spawn beacons are one of the many ways that you can spawn in the game. We'll have a video on that later, as I mentioned, where I specifically talk about spawning and the flow of combat. That'll actually be the next video I do. So we move to the left, and a few of our teammates are already over here. So we're able to place a spawn beacon and establish a little bit of a foothold on top of the sky base. From here we'll be moving to attack point A, which you can see on the map in the southwestern side. It's still under enemy control. It's blue. And in most bases there's more than 1 point, but this is a small base. Whoever controls the majority of those points begins to slowly take the base, and with it the spawn room. Once the spawn room is taken, the enemy can no longer spawn at the base. You'll also notice there's a lot of strategies that I'm using in this shooter that are valid in other shooters. Like I'm doing a lot of ADS here. I'm doing a lot of slow and fast peaks, and I'm even doing a little bit of pre-fire in some situations. A lot of people think that larger games like this can't have those strategies because of lag. PlanetSide 2 manages these strategies very well. There's not a lot of lag. Occasionally in a larger fight you'll run into a little bit, but for the most part the game's pretty good. You will, however, notice a lot of popping in, like the characters appearing right in front of you. Those are going to be friendly units. With a game this big, the game prioritizes who it renders first, and it's always going to prioritize targets based on threat level to the player. So enemy players are a higher threat level, so you can see them further away. You can see enemy vehicles further away, but friendlies and friendly vehicles have a lower priority. So that's why occasionally you will see a player just appear in front of you. The most most dangerous aspect of that is when you're driving. Sometimes you might not see a friendly player in the road, but typically it's not a problem.
We call this tactical superiority.
You'll see here we've pushed down the corridor that we were shooting down previously. The enemy spawn room is just around this corner. We're trying to shoot them as they come out of it. At this point, you've already taken the point A, and you'll see a timer in the upper left, or the left side of the screen, counting down. Once that timer reaches 0, we will officially take the base, like that. And the spawn room turns hostile towards the enemy. And then we can start to spawn here. So unless the enemy has another place to spawn nearby, they no longer have a presence in the base. This part I'm just showing you to kind of get an idea of just how many people are playing the game. So all of these players were here and they were dispersed during the fighting. But now they're all congregating here to get onto the launch pad. So there's probably about 20 bases like this in this map, maybe more. And they're not all this populated, but there's about 2,000 players at any given time in this one map. You know, this was probably one platoon or so of players that was just fighting for this one base. And now they're all going to another base to do it again. One thing I will show you, not to get too much into a tutorial, is how to invite people. You go to Social tab. You're going to have to leave the squad by pressing the square button on the squad screen. That's not automatically done when you invite someone. Then you go to the Friend tab and you can find your friends and invite them. A little bit cumbersome. It doesn't really explain it to you too much, but all in all, pretty self-explanatory process. This footage is from a place called TI Alloys, which any PlanetSide player will tell you is right beside the Crown. The Crown is the most notorious or infamous facility in PlanetSide 2. It's located right in the middle of Endar, which is a continent. It's very important we keep these surrounding bases, because once you're fighting at the Crown, you're usually fighting on two different fronts. Both of the opposing factions will probably be there. You'll also see a little bit of vehicle combat here. I'm going to do a video on that as well, on especially tanks and harassers. And if anyone wants to see any of the other vehicles, make sure you leave that in the comment section below. In general, if you have any questions about the console release, or any questions like is the game worth it, which is definitely yes, it is, make sure you leave that in the comment section below and I'll address those questions. In the meantime, just know that me and some of my friends are making some more videos for you as we speak. Try to put at least one out every week. And this is LT Pogue Mahone and friends, signing off.